Hola, mi amo es Brian. My name's Brian. Actually, I was just kidding. This is the inaugural voyage of my YouTube channel. I just decided that I've been doing some woodworking. I like to do a lot of projects. I'm actually in construction. This is more of a hobby, but I just wanted to kind of archive from a weekend warrior point of view, woodworking and the evolution of that. And because I watch a lot of YouTube, and I said, what the heck? I might as well do it myself. And I don't have an accent, but I just did right there. So anyways, I thought I would archive it. Kind of started off like everybody else, making cutting boards in my slower months in construction. This particular cutting board, I was just kind of experimenting. Went and get some exotic woods, and to be honest with you, I can't even tell you what this is, but it was very beautiful. I bought it from Woodcraft, I think. And so I just put some, if you can believe it, this is all one piece. It's the wood color, and I just kind of oriented it to put it together like this. And so that's one of the wood boards I did. And then there's this guy, which I think is the same type of wood. If you know what this is, let me know in the comments. But just kind of messing around, stuff like that. Just been enjoying it. I do watch a lot of YouTube, and so I thought I might as well record it, because why not? And I don't have an accent, but I just did right there. So excuse me for that. But anyways, I just started getting into woodworking. I like it a lot. And then I kind of came up with the idea of just making a coffee table. Here's the coffee table. Now I made it out of walnut, I think it's chinook, and some cherry wood in the middle, I believe. Use a template to make the legs. It's more like a mid-century modern type of look. And then I made another one just out of walnut, which I'll show you. And this here is the walnut table. And then over here, this is the Foreman, Misha. She sleeps a lot on the job and is very bossy. Same type of design, more minimalistic, mid-century, modern was kind of what it's going for. So this is kind of what it looks like. So that's kind of the evolution of where I'm at today. Now my wife loved the coffee table, and so she said, what is a coffee table without some end tables? So that's where we are in space and time. It's kind of like being a bad drug dealer. I'm using all my product at this point because I would like to sell some pieces to promote my habit, or to enable me to continue to have a habit. Recently I just purchased some more walnut. It turns out I had a friend that works at a lumber store. I went and picked up this beautiful nut, and so got quite a bit of it. So I'm hoping to make some beautiful end tables for my wife, dealing my product to other customers besides her. She is a heavy user of my time. I'm trying to wean her off. Keep in mind, I said I wanted to do this from a point of view of a weekend warrior. You can see it's got bicycles and planers. I don't have a joiner or anything like that. I use a lot of hand tools. I got a pretty decent table saw. I got a nice cut saw. Everything folds up. Mediocre router that just kind of does the job. Progress in my woodworking. Potentially pick up some tools along the way. Let's get started. And by the way, I am in my garage today. 90 something outside, humid, Nebraska weather. That's where I live. And so it's a little warm out here. So if I'm gleaming and shining, it's not my aura, it is the weather. She said, what is a coffee table without some end tables that match it? Foreman, Misha. $600. Hopefully I can get a couple end tables out of this. So I'm just going to kind of walk you through what I do, what I'm doing. Comments are welcome. I'm not a professional. I don't have all the tools. I'm going with what I got. Okay, basically I'm going to start by drawing a line, which is the foundation of all great things. Then another line, and another line, and look at that. It's a square, which is going to represent my tabletop. Basically, I went in and took a look at our current tabletops, and I don't know why I'm spending a lot of time on those arrows. It's really, yeah. So I'm spending a lot of time on the arrows, but basically what it comes down to is it's about 23 and a half by 23.5. I'll make it a little longer so I can cut it down and fine tune it once it's glued together. So that's just so I don't forget or dream up of a different number somewhere along the way, which happens. So I also wrote that they're going to be the same. So I'm making 2 identical tabletops. That's where I'm going to start. So from here, I'll go over and measure up what the dimensions are for the lumber that I have. And then I'm going to write it down on there. Now keep in mind, when I bought this from the supplier, and keep this in mind when you do buy wood, that a lot of times they will go ahead and put a joining edge on. They have the machines to flatten one end, at least one end, and that way you can get another square edge from that flat end, if that makes sense. And then I'll also oftentimes can plane it down for you a little bit. So that's what I had them do. So all these are different, so that's why I'm writing them down. And I'm going to sharpen my sword here to create, which I will use to create my empire here of end tables. So now I'm writing these measurements down so that I can solve this puzzle of which pieces are probably going to work best. I think I have 2 that are 8.75, so I kind of figure I need 3 pieces, and then I think I put those on the tail end, so I'll be able to get basically 6 pieces cut, because I need 6 pieces for the tabletops here. Now I got everything calculated, I think. Wait, processing, calculating. Okay, so I think I got it figured out, essentially. So I will make this a little wider on each end. And so this is what I came up with. I'm basically going to cut 3 boards. I got an 8.75 board and a 10. So I'm going to get this, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I'm going to get this out. It's really cramped in here. So get this out. My wife actually really would like to park in the garage, and so this is kind of why I'm making an end table, because I just can't see moving all this stuff. It just seems literally impossible to find a place for it. So hooking up my vacuum. So really at the end of the day, it just seems easier to make 2 end tables than clean this garage out. So anyways, I really love this cut saw here. Okay, a little break here for a second. Yeah, so I'm hooking up my cut saw or miter saw, whatever you want to call it. And one of the problems I have with hooking up my vacuum or dust collection to my tools is that my breaker often goes out. So I came up with an ingenious solution to that. Since I can't afford a formal big ass dust collection system, and so what I did is bought a $50,000 car that you can do vehicle to load. It's kind of cool, actually. I get excited about it. Yes, it's a mess. I got this thing, hooks up. You can plug whatever to it. I think it's like 15 or 1800 watts, so it's pretty substantial. And then I just took on my vacuum. There you have it. You're welcome. Just get a $50,000 car. Okay, now it's time to put on some safety gear, so safety eventually. Put on some gloves to handle my sword and other materials. And actually my gloves, turns out, match my sword. How do you like that? So my cut saw, because I love it, actually doesn't have a laser, which I think a lot of them do, but it has a little shadow line. It's pretty pimp, if you ask me, but it always works. And so there's one board cut. Now I kind of noticed things were getting a little clogged from use when you just slice little pieces off. They get stuck in that the little pocket there, which I think is supposed to happen and kick them away, but it's time to clean it out. So here we go. Clean, 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 and clean. So anyways, I think in hindsight, I don't even know if I had to take the screws out. So live and learn. So, but anyways, got it cleaned out regardless. And there you go. It's beautiful, if I might say so. Yes. Okay, here's the boards. 3 boards I got. And they look pretty sexy. So at this point, I want to check out how thick they are. And they are all different. I think it's like 6/8. I think it's the terminology, meaning it's about 1.5 inches. So, or something like that. So, and if I check this one, it's like 1.65. So that's some discrepancies there. And so I'm going to plane it through the planer. This turns out to be one task I'm really, really, really good at. And I don't know why, but check this out. Look at this. It's like juggling bowling balls. I mean, it's just incredibly fast. The goal here is to get them all to the same width or thickness. So less sanding down the road. So that's what I'm doing here. And so after I'm done juggling here, we'll take a test on it and see where we're at. So there's where we're at. So they're all basically the same. So that's kind of nice. And as I said before, I got the wood that was thrown through a joiner. So in theory, if I just cut one edge, I should have a very square board for the middle and 2 other very flat joined seams. So that's just one cut, and should have the width, hopefully, that I'm looking for. It's good to have a compressor. If you don't have one, it's like skydiving. It's like a good break. So bring it over. Let's see how it fits. It just slides right in there and kaplunk. That looks pretty good to me. Kind of measuring just to double check. It's super hot out here because it's like 90 out. So anyways, here we are looking at the seams, looking good. See a little sweat from me. We're at 27 and what is that, 24, almost 25. It's a little thin, but we'll try to make it work. Now it kind of ran into a little snafu here. For a second I thought, oh, these are only 2 foot wide. It's not going to work. And then the cranks back and they'll fit. So there you have it. So luckily that wasn't a fatal error there. So I got going here, and I like to put some wax paper down, largely to protect the table as well as the clamp, so I don't have to keep scraping it off there. And so there you go, I got it together. Getting ready to put some glue on. Now it turns out it's hard to take the old glue off the top with one hand, but I got it, and so just glue it on. Something about glue, I don't know. I just like it. It's nice. It makes stuff stick together. So put it on and then make little designs. I do have a silicone brush. Those work really well, but since I was filming, I just did it with my finger. Just make sure you break all the surface tension all up and down. Maybe I put a little too much, but I don't know. I'd rather have too much than not enough. That's a fatal error to do that. So anyways, fun with glue. And then again, running into one-handed issues. Don't think so. So put the camera down. Got it going now. So just push the clamps in. Those just slide in. The pipe clamps. Those are really nice if you're a beginner. Get some pipe clamps. You can cut them to any length you want. Slowly tightening it up. I like to put these clamps on the end to keep the boards from folding or arching. A lot of times people say put the grain where it's like a smile and frown, so the way the grain goes is kind of alternating, but this really helps with getting them flat and plain. Sometimes I'll put a clamp across the other direction or the top just to help keep them down, but this is kind of a smaller, so I just kind of did that. Get the glue out of the way too. So there we go on that, and then wipe it down if you can, the best you can. You can use water, which you'll see. I think I used some water here. Yeah, I used some water. So you can get a wet cloth. It's not going to hurt anything. It's wood after all. So there's that, and then it's done. No, I actually just flipped it over. So I don't know why I flipped it over, but I did. So there you have it. And now we're towards the end. So kind of just making sure you don't want it too tight. Never too tight. There, I actually put some clamps there. That's why. Well, thanks for coming along. I effectively have sweated it, and we have finished 2 tabletops. Come back next time, and we'll start shaping these a little bit and see where we go from there. Appreciate your patronage. Thanks, and good night.